Yeah. So hello all, good morning and good evening. So in the last class we have discussed about TypeScript. So today we are going to start the Angular. So let me open Notepad. Okay. So here we are starting with Angular. So actually, why Angular? So Angular is called as a framework. Okay. So Angular comes under the category called framework. So we have actually two things. One is library, and another one is framework. What exactly library and what is framework? For example, if you take a bootstrap or jQuery, so these two comes under the concept called library. So what is meant by library is, see, bootstrap has provide I mean to to develop some rich UI components, so only to support the CSS to develop a rich UI component. So bootstrap focus on only one thing, and that's made is perfect. So that's the library, and it's not giving you the complete application solution, just only the UI parts. And jQuery. So jQuery is to simplify the JavaScript DOM manipulation. So jQuery is also a library and which simplifies the DOM manipulation and a little bit of plugins, but this will not give you the complete idea how to develop a complete application. So these two comes under libraries. So which focus on one thing, only one thing in the entire application development, and they have done perfectly well for that thing. Next, let's talk about the framework. So what is framework is? So framework is not just focus on one thing, it just focus on the complete application development solution. So what is the complete application development solution is, if you want to develop a complete application, we need a lot of things. We need to develop, okay, we need the UI components, we need UI components, and we need to provide the, DOM manipulation, and we have to provide the routing, and we have to provide the HTTP calls to the backend to connect to the servers and getting data. So lot many things. And let's take form validation. So too many things. Okay, so Angular comes under the category called framework because Angular is providing all these things in built. Okay, so Angular will provide UI components. First of all, when you talk about UI components, um, Bootstrap also does the UI components. But thing is, Bootstrap is a common for, it's a general thing, a general software for every application. Let's take Angular also, you can use Bootstrap, React, uh, Vue.js, you can use the Bootstrap. It's a general thing. But Angular itself is having its own UI component that's called Angular Material. So that is given by the Google people to provide the rich UI components. But we can manage with Bootstrap. And so DOM and routing. So Angular provides a routing system and HTTP calls, HTTP clients, and the form validation. So a lot many things. Okay, so that's why Angular is called as a framework, which provides a complete application development solution. So along with all this, Angular is used to develop a complex UI developments. So complex UI. Why complex UI? Means generally we want to develop a simple UI, then normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and jQuery is enough, right? So, but if you want to develop a complex UI, so you have to go for the frameworks because this will sort out the problem, uh, and this will resolve the complexity, and this will reduce the complexity of a application development. Okay, so that's the place where we use Angular, and we also use Angular for single page applications. Okay, what exactly the single page application? Generally, let me open bench. Yeah, generally how client and server communication is going to happen. Let's take, this is the client and this is the server. So generally, regularly, how the server and client is going to communicate is, one second. So this is the client and this is the server. Okay, so the client is going to send a HTTP request to the server. So server does something, some process, and it will respond back with a HTTP response. But in this response, it is going to send a lot of information. What is that is? It is going to send a set of HTML files and set of CSS files and set of JS files and some jQuery libraries and all. So whenever you're sending a normal HTTP request, the server is responded with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and along with the application data. Right. So this is all for design, and actual data also will be sent from the server, so that browser will captures the response and display the page. So in this process, unless you get data from the server, the browser is keep reloading to get the data. As soon as it receives the data, it will display the data on the page. That's a general application is gonna work. So what exactly single page is? Same like the Ajax request. So Ajax concept won't happen. You can send an XML HTTP request and we get the response not in the form of HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Only we are going to get the data, and that too the data in the form of JSON. So what is single page application is, you never see a page refresh here. It means first time when you request something from the server, yes, you have to get all this. So first time refresh will happen, and after that, if any operation you're doing at the client side, you're adding an employee, deleting an employee, or any kind of operation, you're going to different routing different pages. So then there is, you never see a page refresh over here. It seems like a desktop application. Same like, see, WebStorm is desktop application. Whatever you click, right, you never see a page refresh here. So same like that. So here, what is exactly happening is the data transfer is going to happen in the form of a JAX call through only data transfer to the backend. Okay, so that's how application works, and you never see a page refresh. That's called single page application. Okay, so that's purpose we use Angular. And before Angular, we have Angular JS, but that was almost I mean, very less people are using it now. So everyone shifted to Angular, and Google also confirmed that maximum next 3 years they will support Angular JS, but everyone has to convert to Angular. And Angular current version is, it was 8, now it is released with Angular 9. So in Angular 9, one IVI processor has improved extra, but we don't need to worry about as a developer because that is the internal processing thing of Angular. Okay, so in this class we are learning Angular 9 as well. Okay, so these things is gonna provide by Angular. Okay, so first thing is how they can provide or how they can simplify the complex UI development. So what is the way of Angular process? How the Angular works is, let me tell you the architecture. So suppose this is your application. Okay, so in this entire application, how they will reduce the complexities, they will divide the application into various components. Okay, so first of all, before components, I tell you, this is an application. In that application, every application will have a collection of modules. Okay, in this module, we have a collection of UI components and services. Let's take in this module. So I want to design a navbar. Let's take a, see, I want to design a navbar, and then I want to design a sidebar, and then I want to design the main contents like this. So each part of the UI is called UI components, and that's actually called as the components. Okay, there's a UI components. So the whole application divided into multiple modules. I have made only one module here. In that module, they divide each and every this portion of UI into a UI components, and each component is associated with a service, services. Okay, so if you want to understand all this, let's see here. So Angular contains a collection of Angular app. You can take Angular app contains a collection of modules. Collection of modules, and for all the modules, one parent module is there, one root module is there. That module is called as app module. So which automatically comes with Angular, and further we can create our own modules as a child modules of app module. That's a root module in Angular application. Next, for each module we have various components. Various components. So for all these components, one parent component or root component is given by Angular, that is app component. Okay, app components. And inside you can create any kind of component like navbar component, sidebar component, main content component, like that. You can just create. So app module and app components. So this components, let's take an app component. So what is there actually in the component is um, you will have, suppose UI component is means what, to design a part of UI, is a portion of UI. Okay, let's take a navbar is a UI. So to develop a UI navbar, what do we require? We need one HTML, we need one CSS, we need one TypeScript. Okay, so these three files required. So for every component we have a three files. One is HTML and one CSS and one TypeScript file. So HTML is to make a structure and this is to make a styles, and to provide data for this particular components, we need to maintain data from TS file. So maintain data means this is acts as a controller for these two. So any sort of DOM manipulation is going to happen in between, I mean, this page. This will going to serve you all the controls of this page. Okay. And then for every module, along with the components, you will be having one services. Services and pipes, filters. Okay, let's take pipes over here. Okay, we also have along with the component services. So what is services is, services used mainly for the business logic and also the server side connections, HTTP calls purpose. See, this TS file is only handle the front end part, which doesn't have any connection with the backend, which we now write the application business logic and all here. It acts as the only controller for the component. But what is services is, the services mainly interacts with this TS file and the backend process. So which contains actual business logic of the application and also the server side call. So this service is responsible to connect to the backend servers and databases, and which will retrieve the data and send data back to the TS. And this is responsible to display data on the HTML. Okay, and pipes. Pipes means which is to filter the data. Like if you have a data in a string format, I want to display in a number format or date or currency. Um, so any country specific currencies, so numbers, so such type of format. So this is used for formatting, and you can even use custom pipes to format your own data. Okay, so that's the pipes. Okay, so complete Angular application which is divided into various modules, and the root module is called app module, and each module will have different components. For each component, there is a root component called app components. Inside, you can have a number of components like navbar component, sidebar, and main content components. Each component is made up of one HTML, one CSS, and one TS file. So this TS file is access a data transfer. I mean, to control these HTML, we use the TS file. This contains even the DOM manipulation logics and all. Next, then services. So services is in association with the components, and these are providing the actual application business logic and also server side HTTP calls. And pipes we also have for each component, and this is to filter the data which is coming from the server and display back in a proper way how we want to display. Okay, so this is the setup of Angular. But in Angular, how to create the application is Angular provide one beautiful tool that is called Angular CLI. So Angular CLI is given by Angular itself. So what this Angular CLI is? The command line interface. It means through the commands, we can create the module, we can create a component, we can create a service, we can create a pipe. So everything we're going to create and configure. Because if you want to create one component, suppose I want to create one navbar component, you want to create, you have to create your own HTML, your own CSS, your own TS, and you have to configure them with module. So instead of doing that much manual process, there is a command to create a component that will create all these files and also configure with app module. So this is the best weapon what we have to develop the Angular application in a faster way. Okay, and this is also used to create the complete skeleton, the basic first application of Angular using Angular CLI. So let me open a website of Angular CLI, Google. Yeah, but I show you the Angular website. If I type Angular, yes, this is the official Angular website. Okay, one framework for mobile and desktop, and we have some NG conference on April 1st and 3rd. Okay, this is about Angular website it is. And here important thing is Blogger. If you click on the blog, you can understand what are the new versions and new features included in Angular version. See, Angular 9 has a release. Okay, Project IVY has arrived, so it is on February 7th. So Feb 7, Angular 9 has a release. So any updates about Angular, you can check about the blog. And events means some events is going to happen for worldwide. All the Angular developers is going to meet up and discuss the future improvements of Angular. So that events you can find over here. This is what the event again, ngconf, same like JSConf, JavaScript configuration. This is Angular conference, and some resources and some documentation and features. So documentation, you can find the complete application, Angular documentation, like how to create a components, what is service. So application, complete information you can find over here in documents. And same like that, one more website is there, that is Angular js.org. This is the old version which you are talking about, Angular 1. Okay, so this is Angular 1, Angular JS. Okay, so we are not discussing all this one, we only talking about Angular 9. This one, fine. And yeah, Angular CLI, that's a separate website, Angular CLI. Okay, cli.angular.io. Yeah, this is Angular CLI, which is a command line interface for Angular. So through commands we can generate all the required things for Angular. So how to install the Angular CLI is npm install -g at angular /cli, and then we can create the application, and we can just start the application. This is the four simple steps to start the complete application of Angular, and then we can modify as per our interest. Okay, let me create an Angular app using these commands. Before doing all this, we have to install a Angular CLI. So we have already done the installation of Angular CLI in the first day of software installation. I show you one more time how to install Angular CLI and check the version. Um, you can do one thing. First of all, go to command line. Yeah, here just hit the command. Uh, First you check the Node.js version, Node -v. I have a 12.14. Okay, and then I want to install this one. So just say npm install. Same thing you have to type over here to install actually Angular CLI. So -g in the global, because I have to access in everywhere in the my computer directory, and h Angular CLI, enter. Okay, so it is installed. You want to check the say ng space minus minus version. Yep. See here, you get this when you type ng version, Angular CLI, and Angular CLI version, and the Angular core. Yeah, you can check here 9.0.2. So it means Angular 9 version. Okay. So fine. So we have installed Angular CLI. So using Angular CLI, we are going to install a actual Angular project, Angular app. So I'll do one thing. Uh, I'll go to workspace, online classes. Okay, Angular 8. Yeah. Here I create a new folder, Angular 9. Okay. So here I want to create a first app. Okay, my first application. So you can just copy this address, go to command line. So D colon cd space paste, enter. Okay, so here I want to create a Angular application. So how to create Angular application is ng new and your application name. So I will create ng new first minus app, press enter. So it takes some time, and it also asks some questions. I think, yeah. Would you like to add Angular routing? So it's asking in your application, you want to make, you want to maintain a routing system. Yeah, yes, as of now. Okay, next. So which style sheet format would you like to use? So which style sheet format? You're gonna use CSS or SAS or less stylus, what? I'll select the CSS and enter. Yes, it's created all the required
What is
files.
actually this type of CSS that it asks? Like, what is less SCSS? What are those?
Sorry?
Now, what I'm asking, it asks like there was three options, right? There were
Yes,
three
yes.
options. So there are different type of CSS, or how why it asks that one?
Yeah. CSS will have some pre-compilers like SCSS and less. So this is another way of writing the style sheets. Generally, we have a TypeScript, right? .ts. So,
Right.
so this TypeScript you will compile it and it will generate a .js file. Same like that. This is another way of writing styles. So there is one .scss file will be there. Once you write a styles and you will compile it, it will generate automatically the .css file. It is another way of writing styles.
Okay.
Mm, so it takes time installing. And this is once done, we can go to that folder and we can do ngserve. So it will create a development server and we can open that application using the 4200, I mean port number. It takes time. Yeah. So now installation done. Okay, fine. So I'll do one thing. I'll just hmm, yeah, I'll just go to the folder cd space first app. Okay. So in the first step, I have to start the server. So how to start the server using Angular is ng space serve and press enter. So first we'll see the, I mean, what is output, and then we'll discuss what exactly happening inside. Mm,
So you mean like port 4200? Which one, sir?
Yeah, yeah, 4200.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So now see the Angular live development server is listening on a local host 4200 and open your browser, enter this URL. Okay, so it is now up and running the development server. So let me go to the browser and let's enter 127.0.0.1.4200, enter. Yes, so I will get this page. So this is the basic, I mean, the very first application of Angular. They have given a navbar and some other resources. So CLI documentation, Angular blog, learn Angular. So like all this. Okay, this is the basic. You can feel like a home page. Fine, and but how Angular architecture? So where is the component and where is the module and how actually this page has come? Let's have a look about the directory structure and all. So for that matter, I'll do one thing. I'll just copy this URL. I'll go to WebStorm. I'll load that. So file open, paste. Okay, okay, okay. It's still indexing. Fine. See, so whenever you hit the command ng new and first tab, so it will create all the folder structure in this way. So here you have to understand the main important thing is, so whenever you are entering this particular URL, so this application is going to look for in the SRC, there is one file called main.ts. This main.ts. So when I open the main.ts, yep, this is source code. So in the main.ts, one important thing is line number 11. See here, the platform browser dynamic dot bootstrap module app module. So whenever you enter a URL called 4200, it will look for the app module. So bootstrap module app module. It means it is going to kickstart the app module, the root module. It's going to kickstart. It means it's going to initialize the app module. Okay, so where is this app module? Is it is imported from, say this app module imported from app folder app.module. So in this app folder, you can check there is one app.module.ts. So whenever you enter a URL, it will kickstart the, it will, I mean, it will initialize the app module, the main root module. When you go to the root module, this is the root module application, I mean, the source code. And here, see, It doesn't have anything, but it's have a declaration bootstrap app component. So it is going to kickstart the root component called app components. So where is this app component? Is from app.component, the same folder. So that is this one, app.component.ts. So this is the app component. And here, so every component will be having three things common. So one is selector and template URL and styles URL. So what is going to be the selector is the custom tag. So as we discuss in a Angular application, so we have navbar one component, sidebar one component, right? So to make a reusability of the code, they have made a custom tags. So a component means, yes, you're going to write HTML and CSS, but thing is, how you declare them is you will be having a custom tags. Like if you're developing a navbar, you'll be having app minus navbar. It's your own tag, and they create app minus main content, your own tag, like that. So each component will have a custom tag. So for this, the entire root component, we have a tag called app root. So it means the tag name is going to be the app root tag. I tell you where it is configured. So and also for that particular tag, what could be the HTML source is template URL HTML. So when I mean this entire page is representing from this app component.html. So when I open a HTML, yes, they have written some styles, some toolbar, logo, hover, and all. And this is the complete styles. And see this one, you can find something. Welcome span. This one is welcome. Okay, and some logo is there. Image Angular logo. That is this one, and some card. So in the card you have span title app is running. Okay, so this one app is running and first app. So here it is something, this is actually called Angular expression. We'll discuss Angular expression now. So title app is running. So what is this title is? This data, because every HTML data is serving from the TS file. So if you open a TS file, see here, title is equal to first tab. So we have a variable declared in the class called title with the value first tab. So this particular title he is reading over here. If you want to cross check, I will just change the title to hello. I changed it. Now check, not refresh. Why is taking too much time? It's already running. Oh, 1 minute. Actually, I was running it outside. I'll just do one thing. I'll just close it and I will run it from my. It just started. Yeah, see, hello. I changed it. App is running. So this is how you can connect a normal application data from the class to the HTML. And these are all same story like resources, some links. These are all coming from this HTML file. Okay. So this content entire HTML file, we have a custom tag that is app root. So where is this app root is configured? So without writing the app root tag, how are we getting this? It means, so whenever you enter the URL, okay, whenever you enter the URL for any application, first of all, it look for one basic file. For home page, it look for a file called index.html. So whenever you enter a URL, it look for the home page in index.html. So even Angular will have index.html. So when I go to index in the main source, I have index.html. When I open that, see, you have a title. First tab is this one. Okay, and then you have a favicon icon, that is this one, and below that, see, body tag, we have only app root. So we don't have any other tags, we have only just custom tag app root. So this app root is representing our HTML, because see the entire component is having an app root, and that was loaded over here. And if you do one thing, if you can demo this app root, then so nothing is going to display. Okay, this whole data is coming from the app root. Okay, fine. And if you want to change it, you can change also. But I don't recommend to change this because it's a root component, so you must not change it. I just show you app. Mm, what you do? Okay, root to minus component. So I have changed it. So it will not work because there is no name called app root components. So I will modify the TS file as app root component as a custom tag. You can change any tag here. So now it will display the contents. Okay, so this I have changed to app root component, but it's not looks good. Let's make app root again. This also back to app root. So that's a root tag, so that it will detect and display. Yep. So that's how Angular works. I repeat again. So whenever you enter the URL, first it look for index.html only, but in HTML we have a app root. We want to understand the app root story. First it look for main.ts. In that it will initialize the root module. And if you go to the root module, in that it is initializing the root components, and in that root component is configured as the tag custom tag is app root. And for that, and the supported HTML story, HTML source code is going to be the HTML. So when I open a HTML, so this particular data is going to display whenever you write a app root. And one more thing here is I write only app root one time, so one time it display. So what if I make the tag one more time, because that's called reusability, right? So I'll make app root one more time. So what happens? See, you have app root here. Oh, now maybe they have restricted, it seems. Actually, if you're writing your own custom tag, something like this, so how many times you use that one, so those many times it's gonna repeat the same UI. Okay, so it is a root component, so maybe that features they are not given for this one. So now I want to customize, because I don't like this UI, because I want to make my own application and my own logic from the starting. So for this, what I do is, first of all, I go to the app.component.html. I don't need this entire story, so I can just control A, delete. I save it. So now it is empty. Yep. So I add h1 tag. Let's say I am from app component. Okay. See, you get a basic HTML message. I'm from app components. Okay. So for this, if you want to add some styles, if you want to add some styles for this HTML, see, every component will have HTML and CSS. So any CSS concept you wanted, you can write the component specific CSS file, or else we have a common style.css. There also you can write a style. The whole application will have a global styles file. There also you can write it. So component specific you can write in a component.css. For the whole application you want a common styles, then go to style.css. And before going to all these things, I want to tell you on three important files. One is angular.json, that is the configuration file about Angular. Okay, when I open this Angular, so you have complete configuration about Angular um, things, like where the distribution of and main file, index file, ts config style.css, main style.css, some assets. So like a complete configuration about Angular. And then one package.json. This is the this is the configuration file about the project, so which contains ngserve commands, the builder, test, lint, end-to-end test, like some scripts, and also the dependent modules. So this is the complete project configuration file. And we have another file called tsconfig.json. So this is for TypeScript configuration. I think we have discussed already the tsconfig file, but which having a more entries. So related to the Angular application, and its target is ES 2015 is going to convert to ES6 JavaScript. Okay, so this is a tsconfig TypeScript configuration package application configuration. Angular.json is the Angular configuration. Fine. Now the thing is, I have app component.html, and in app component.html, I have made h1 tag. I want to give some styles. So I go with its own CSS, that is app component.css. Here I gonna write something. I'll write h1. I'll write something called font family, Arial, comma, sans serif. Let's say, okay, you will get the Arial format, and let's say color something dark red. You're gonna get reddish color. Okay, so that's a app component, but I don't want to use this. I want to create my own component, my own new component. So how to create a new component is because every component we need one CSS file, one JS file, and one TS file, and we can do all these things using Angular CLI. So what is the command to create a new component is, you can create ng generate space component space the component name. Okay. So one shortcut also there. Instead of doing this much, you can write ng g for generate, c for components, and then you can provide the component name of the components. Okay. If you want to know these commands, just go to any command line. But actually, I have started this server from command line. I'll just do one thing. I'll just stop it, and I'll start it from my terminal, because we have a terminal over here. Cd space first app. I'll start how to start ng. So it will start again, and meanwhile we'll go to the command line one more time. Yeah, if you want to know any the command line, I mean ng's Angular CLI commands, you can type ng space minus minus help. Hmm. Sorry, it's not like that. Ng help. Yeah, it is showing the display all available commands. Okay, we have a deploy config help. Hmm. Only basics is given. More detail help. Ng command name help. Okay, understood. Ng and the command name. So you want to generate or what, and then help. Okay, let's do one thing. Ng g hyphen help. So what we could generate? No, unable to locate workspace file path. Okay. Some command is missing over here. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll go and search in official documentation. Yeah, here. So here you can just select the documentation. Yeah, this is actually the installing CLI. So we have already done that, and the workflow is fine. Yeah, ng generate hyphen help. Oh, okay. But what I given? Ng ng generate hyphen help. Still we got error. Create a build. This are all fine. Some commands are there to generate. Yeah, see, generates. It generates, add or modify the files based on the schematic. When I just click on the generate, what any options? Yep. So ngg and semantic schematic is, it can be any like this. Yeah, I tell you what is mean by. So ng generator. So I'm going to generate what? You're going to generate app shell. You can create a new application. You can generate a class, component, directive, enum, god, interceptor, interface, library, module, pipe service, web worker. Like these many things can be, generated by using this command. It's not showing in the help, so I'll just show you, how to create your own component here. So back to here. Uh, I'll do one thing. I'll just close all. Yeah, here in the app folder, I want to create separate folder called components. So I'll just right click, new directory, components. Yeah, in this components, I'm going to create a new component called grid components. So what I do is I'll just select this folder, right click, open in terminal, because I want to open that in the same location terminal. So it opens a new terminal. So previous terminal is using the server running, and the next terminal, the new command prompt. Here in the components folder, I want to create a new component. So what's my component is grid components. So how to create is ng g for generate, c for components. So shortcut, I'm doing this one components, and the component name is grid, and press enter. So this is going to generate, see, one HTML, one spec. Specs means it's a unit testing file, and one TS and one CSS, and is also configured. See, app module.ts. So when I go to once app module.ts, see in app module.ts, see one module has configured as a grid component from components folder grid, and this grid component has declared here. So this whole thing can be done by Angular command line itself. And when I go to the app folder, we have components folder. In that, it generates a new grid folder which having few files: CSS, HTML, spec, and TS. So CSS for style sheet and HTML for structure, and .ts to provide data. It acts as a controller for your UI components, and the spec.ts. This is for unit testing purpose. So as of now, we don't worry about the unit testing concepts here. So HTML. So HTML, they generate automatically one paragraph tag. Grid works. The component name and works. So if you want to use it, just go to the TS file. See, TS file we have a selector called app grid. So if you want to display this particular content, so we have a custom tag called app grid. So I want to use this app grid in the app component because that's the root component. In that, I want to display my own components. So how to configure this is you have to use this tag. So I'll go to main um, root component app.component.html. Let's see here. It was where is that? Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, below this, I want to use my custom component, means custom tag. You can say app grid. So what happened? So it will display. So you got a pair of grid works. So it means the app grid, the grid.html, just this is gonna working over here. It's a separate component. So instead of doing all this, I'll just take a h2. I'll say I'm from grid component. So you get the I'm from grid components. So like this. And one more thing, in the same app components, app grid is one tag. So I'll just make it multiple. Okay, I can reuse the same component logic. So what happened? It just makes you a multiple copies. That's called reusability of a component. Okay, I just use only one. That's the app grid. Okay, and even you wanna apply some styles for this components. The component specific style.css is available. Component.css. There you can change it. Let's make it's a h2 tag. So let's say the font family. I want to give something else, so I'll just make a Comic Sans MS and Sans Serif, a different font and different color. So like this. So now you have made a custom components by yourself. Your own component has given. Fine. But here I don't want to use a normal CSS. I don't want to depend on normal CSS. I want to configure the Bootstrap for my application. So because every front end I want to design with only Bootstrap because we already done the Bootstrap. So how to configure the Bootstrap for your Angular? That's the first thing. So how to configure the Bootstrap is, see, first of all, when you talk about, let me delete all. When you want to configure the Bootstrap, you need to connect some set of files, right? So we need to connect the set of CSS files. So what CSS files you're going to connect is one is bootstrap.css, and we have to connect mdb.css and styles.css. So these files you have to connect, and we also required to connect the the JavaScript files. So what are those? First, jQuery.js has to be connected, and popper.js to be connected, and then what is that? Bootstrap.js, and then mdb.js because I'm going to use mdb. So we need these files and this file. So where we're going to configure these files to make Angular to start working as a Bootstrap styles is, always remember there is a file called angular.json. In this angular.json, you can configure the styles as well as the JavaScript file. Let me open angular.json. Here, the main Angular configuration file is angular.json. Yep, here you can find something called styles and scripts. Okay, so in the styles you have src folder, style.css, and scripts also there. So you can just make a path uh, here, src folder, style.css and all. So let's make that path now. So here, uh, first of all, I need a bootstrap folder. So I'll just get the bootstrap folder and then do it. Mm, So what I do is I'll just get the bootstrap folder. So go to workspace, online classes, bootstrap complete files. I have a bootstrap folder which having the CSS and font and JS folder. Yeah, I need this bootstrap folder. I'll just copy that and back to here. So where you gonna paste it? You either paste in src folder or you can keep in a first tab folder anywhere. I'll just keep in src folder. I'll just paste it.
So we are pasting all the JS file here in the source, like
Yes.
bootstrap dot top that
Yeah, yeah.
pop.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, see, in that src folder, I have a bootstrap folder. Fine. In that we have CSS folder. In that we have bootstrap.cs and all. So let me load these things here. So how to add is src style.cs. This is the main application file. So along with that, I want to add my own. So src folder slash we have a bootstrap slash css slash the very first one I want to add is font awesome. Let me refactor rename, copy that and paste it. Okay, so same like this, you want multiple, control T, sorry.
So basically, the step is to copy inside source first and then put in
Yes,
config, right? This
yes,
dot
yes. Angular.json, yeah. So here I create bootstrap.css and this is mdb.css. And anyway, our style.css is not required because we have a common style.css for a whole application that we can use it. And the scripts. So I'll take src folder slash, but bootstrap and all, I don't want to, I mean, write it here. I'll do one thing. I just select this file. Yes, we have Yes, this one, bootstrap slash jQuery something. Yep. So this I'll make here. Okay, bootstrap folder, JS and jQuery. Next, yeah, you have to make comma. Okay, and then we have popper and bootstrap.min and mdb. Okay, so this is a place where you have to styles configuration and scripts configuration. You have to do it. Okay, fine. So now I think Bootstrap is successfully connected, but make sure you have to restart the server one more time because it's a configuration file of Angular, so you won't detect these styles. You must have to restart. But one more thing I want to tell you is the font awesome local I have connected, but global font awesome the actual link I have not connected. Where you're gonna connect this is simply copy that. One extra step is go to your index index.html and here you're gonna make the fonts. Okay, so the global link we're gonna connect over here. Fine, looks good. And yeah, that's it. Let me start the server. I'll just stop it. Control C for stop. CLS. Yeah. So just say ng. So enter. Yeah, it's done. So I'll go here and I refresh. See, the fonts and all change. This font is changed. So I'll modify something. I don't want to use any custom styles like this. And where is that? Grid component dot CSS. Yeah, app component HTML is there. But one second. I want to go to the app component. I want to go to app components dot CSS. I don't need this. Yeah, just check. So I have a this is bootstrap specific. If you want to know the really is that bootstrap or not, you can do one thing. You can go to uh, where is our grid components? Yeah, in the grid components, HTML. I can start using a normal a bootstrap styles. I'll do one thing. I'll just take a button with the class, not this class. See, it started recognizing your bootstrap styles. So BTN minus primary, fine, and then let's say login. So you should get the login button of Bootstrap. Yes, you got login button. It means the Bootstrap styles has successfully configured. So you can write anything over here. Fine. So let's make something about, let's make a nav bar and something about here. You want to make a nav bar. I'll do one thing. I'll just go to the app components .html. I don't need this h1 tag. Let's delete only app grids. Okay, in the app grids HTML, I'll make some navbar. Okay, how to make a navbar is let me grab a code from the Bootstrap. So I'll go to Google, I'll go to Bootstrap. Yep, here. So documentation and you can do one thing, go to examples. Any navbar you can copy carousel. Yes, I need this navbar. You can do right click, inspect, or else you can do one thing, control U, you type, you get a source code over here. Let me copy this navbar. So I'll just copy the navbar and back to here and paste. Yes, I don't need these many like forms and all not required. These URLs and all not required. Okay, this home link I want. And what else? Yeah, it's not carousel. Let's make greet components. And it's not BG dark or something. Let's make BG primary. So let's check. You have a one navbar, grid component navbar with a home icon. Okay, so this is how you can configure the Bootstrap. Okay, so that's it enough for today's class. And tomorrow I tell you how to develop a complete Bootstrap application, and then we start the interpolation concept like data binding. So how can you bind data between your TypeScript file and then the HTML? So that binding concept we'll discuss, and also we'll discuss the events. So when you click on events, so how they can configure it with the this one and how to handle the events, and then we'll discuss the concept called services and all. Okay, so that's the plan. So
Oh,
meanwhile, you do one thing: you just create a application folder structure, and I'm gonna share only the uh, SRC folder. Only this SRC folder I'm going to share daily, and also angular.json. These two I'll share. So the complete application you have to create it using a ng new and first tab. So first create it and SRC and angular.json just replace. So you will get the complete application. Okay. So any
one
question?
quick question, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, what is Angular material? It is also like design, right? We write something.
Yeah. It's like a bootstrap. We bootstrap we have a general thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Bootstrap is having some components like navbar, cards, carousels, and all. Same like that. Angular itself is given its own UI. You can just search
So
about it.
what I want to know is more rich UI than Bootstrap has given, because Bootstrap gives a lot of classes, right?
Huh. Bootstrap is actually not made up of any what I call. This is the general thing. Like we can use this Bootstrap for normal HTML, and we can use it for um, jQuery and all other. You can use for Angular, but Angular people itself is having one design concept called material design. So this material design concept is actually a patent of Google. So they
Okay.
given, and every people who are developing the application, they have to maintain. I mean, they have to create their apps based on this design rules. So it means how the each components can be configured, like how to make this hamburger menu, how to make this on-off items. So they have given this buttons, floating buttons. So these are all concepts given by the Angular material. This is a concept of Angular. I mean, this is Google. People has given Angular material. So even Angular is a product of Google. So they made their own library like a Bootstrap. Okay, so here also you can find some nice components like see, I just show you. See, you can find some components like date pickers, input sliders, toggles, navbars, cards, tabs, buttons. Like almost all the components which you have in Bootstrap will be there here. But this is Angular specific. It means this only works for Angular application, but Bootstrap is work for any type of application like that.
Okay.
So their own.
So what I'm confused is, because in Bootstrap we can make the website like site responsive, right?
Yeah,
Can we make with only with Angular material responsive without using
yeah, we
Bootstrap?
can, we can.
Okay,
We have a
okay,
grid system also here.
okay.
It's
Just
like
like to a
uh
point, grid system in Bootstrap, we have grid
yes,
system where we can.
yes,
But this only works in Angular, as you said,
yeah,
because
because
Bootstrap we can have.
the way of configuration is completely Angular.
Okay.
And actually for every framework which is there, I mean, this is about Angular, right? So when
Mhm.
you talk about React also having its own. If I go to React material, material
Yeah.
UI, this one, this is a popular UI is given for React. This is a
Okay.
React specific UI thing. Okay, they make everything with the React source code base, like that material UI. And
Oh,
for Vue.js also we have I think Beautify. So this is for Vue.js, Vue material design concept framework again. So this Beautify is for material design for Vue.js concepts. So they made in a Vue.js way. So this only works for Vue.js. So every library, I mean every framework has given their own library. So same like Angular is having Angular Material and Material UI and Beautify. And one common thing for all is Bootstrap. You know, Bootstrap you can use for everything, but their own library also given. But that depends. If your company suggests to use Bootstrap, you have to use Bootstrap. If company suggests to use only Angular Material, then you have to learn Material.
yeah, because a lot of people on in these days, like I'm facing interview, they are asking like Angular material too, and just I want to know, you know.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
configure like we have configured the components, right? We have
Right.
HTML, CSS, same like that. For every component, we have same parts like H1
Mm.
HTML and one CSS, and you want to customize. So through Angular way, you can do this. So outside, we can't work with this because it's tightly coupled with Angular structure only.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's about, and tomorrow we'll discuss the Bootstrap configuration and that data binding concept we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir.